Hey everyone, welcome to my Reader's Journal, where today I'm going to be talking about the book That Was Then, This Is Now by S.E. Hinton. If you have not read this book yet, I highly recommend it. It is one of my favorite books, along with The Outsiders from this author. So, in brief, this book follows the story of two friends, Brian and Mark. They've known each other since childhood. One of the boys' parents pass away early on in life. I think it was Mark's, and they end up living together. So, Brian and Mark more so grow up as brothers along as best friends. What I really like about this story is the arc and the growth that the characters really go through. The main message of this story is about growing up and the friendships and how that's going to develop in your life. And from this book, you see how two friends growing up in the same household, growing up in the same neighborhood, growing up side by side. One of them starts steering towards one way of life, the other one steers towards a different way of life. And I think that's very, very awesome to really capture in this book. That's meant for young readers because that I think happens a lot with not only friends but also family members. If you think about siblings that grow up in the same household, one of them grows up to be X and the other one grows up to be Y. Like they have two different distinct personalities, different interests, different likes. And then from this book's perspective, I really like the friend aspect to it because this book is geared towards young adults. What I really like about the message is the fact that you really have to start thinking about who you're friends with and who you're really going to stick by. So I'm not really going to spoil it too much, but just like the back cover says, Brian is the one that's essentially kind of getting his life together. He wants to start growing up and actually be an adult, whereas Mark is the one that still wants to be a kid, still wants to live life however he wants, and that starts to create a wedge between their friendship. So this book does go into substance abuse. It also has some violent scenes in it, which I'm pretty okay with because I know that the author isn't putting it in so I can read it and be like, hey, now I want to try the substance abuse or I want to become violent like that. It's very much a cautionary input. For example, the substance abuse that we see are just different types of drugs, and one of the characters, who's Eminem, ends up using the drugs, and I won't spoil what happens, but essentially he is affected by them, and that is a driving force to Brian's decision of not wanting to be in the scene anymore. He wants to grow up, he wants to get his life together. And then again, on the other side, you have Mark, who's like, I still want to have fun. And what I really like about this friendship is the fact that you see it be very wholesome in the beginning, and then little by little, you see it starting to fade away. You start seeing Brian become more independent. You start seeing Mark become more jealous and more clingy, per se. And furthermore, this friendship is falling apart due to decisions and viewpoints that the characters are having and not a natural fadeaway that a lot of us are used to. So, for example, like when you start high school, some friends that you had in middle school, some friendships start fading away simply because of interests. And it's not a maturity thing, it is more so, hey, maybe I want to be in marching band, so I'm spending a lot of time there with music and everything. And then I have another friend who's maybe more into the robotics and they're doing more with that. So the friendship isn't ending in a bad note, but little by little, that friendship starts to fade away simply because there's not that mutual interest, and probably just due to lack of time and lack of connection and interactions. That friendship does start to fade away. But that to me is more of a friendship that, even though it's not strong anymore, it's still a friendship. Like it's still, you still care about the person. I'm pretty sure the person still cares about you. There's no bad blood. It didn't end in a negative way. It just ended because of circumstances. Same thing when you graduate high school and your friend goes off to college in a different state. And then little by little, that friendship starts to fade away. And again, it's not because of anything that's bad blood or anything that's about maturity. It's more so just because of the circumstances. This person is in a different state from where I am. And yeah, we may be able to text and FaceTime here and there, but the reality of it, you're not going to have that same connection as you had before. So it's going to start to fade away. and you're going to make more connections with the people that are closer to you. And what's different about this book with this friendship is the characters live with each other. The characters are best friends, and they're not growing apart because one of simply wants to do something else. It's more of a maturity viewpoint. They don't want to be stuck in that mentality that they had before. They want to get their life together. They want to have a better future. That is more of a mature perspective, where the other one doesn't have that and doesn't want to. But that's why I really like this book, because the message that it's giving is about maturity. It's about growing up. It's about knowing who is there for you and who was there for you but now isn't. So it also gives you that lesson of letting go, being able to let go of a friendship that no longer benefits you in a way that is healthy. So I think that's where I'm going to end with this review. It's not a long book, it's only 150 pages. So if you have the chance to read it, I would recommend reading it. It's really good, it's really insightful, and I think that it does have some value to the younger generation. To me, I rated 5 stars because I've read it multiple times, and I will continue rereading it because even now as an adult, I see different themes. I catch on different stuff that I didn't when I was in middle school, that I didn't when I was in high school. But I think that's all I have to say because I really don't want to spoil anything since it is one that I am recommending. If you want things spoiled, I guess I'll spend another 2 minutes talking about things that are spoiled. If you haven't read the book, stop watching. If you have read the book and you want more of the thoughts that are more spoilery, all right, I'll spend another 2 minutes. So, first one that I'm going to spoil is Charlie's death. If you don't recall who Charlie is the bar owner. He was the young one that was friendly with Brian and Mark. He's the one that also let them use his car. And at the end, he died saving their lives. I was very sad when he died because, again, he's someone who's young and he risked his life to save the lives of those 2 kids. And his death is also part of the reason why Brian no longer wants to act the same way that he has been doing. He wants to grow up and mature. Next, we have Eminem. As I mentioned before, Eminem is the one that was really a victim of substance abuse. So what ends up happening is Eminem gets bullied outside of home and then also in his home from his father. He runs away, and then during the book, the characters are looking for him. And when Brian and Mark get to the building, they find Eminem, but he is like passed out. He was basically overdosing on some drug. I don't remember which one it was, but because Eminem is so young, the drugs really messed up his mind. So he's now not able to function the way he has before. And that's, again, another thing that the author does is they're including the drug substance, but not in a way that's like, hey, you should try it. It's like, hey, if you're young and you're taking this, it's gonna mess you up, and not in a good way. So reading that part kind of hit me because I work with kids at the elementary level, and I actually at this moment I don't recall how old Eminem was, but I'm pretty sure he was pretty young. And even if he's not at the elementary grade level, if he's still middle school level, it's still like the same heartbreak. Like, a kid shouldn't be running away from home. They shouldn't be taking drugs to escape the reality that they are living in. And as a consequence, it sucks and it's devastating that the substance that they did take really messed up their mind and they're not able to think cognitively anymore. They're not able to function the same way. So to me, that one hit me more now, again, because I'm older, more mature, and I also have experience working with kids. Let's see, another spoiler. Last thing that I'll talk about is Mark and Brian at the very end. So Mark gets arrested because Brian ratted him out. I agree with Brian's choice. Brian ratting Mark out and not helping Mark, that to me showed that he was ready to move on. It showed that he didn't want to take part in something that was going to continue to damage people, because Mark was selling drugs, and if I remember correctly, I think it was the same drug that Eminem was taking. It's not clear 100%. It's not clear 100% if Mark is directly responsible for what happened with Eminem, but that still didn't matter to Brian. He saw that his friend was dealing the drug that messed up Eminem, and he was like, "No, this is it. We're not doing this." And I really like the growth aspect that he has at the end, and Brian's decision at the end to just let Mark go, I think, is the most healthiest, safest one. And again, this is why I really like the book, because it shows you that letting go of friendships is one, natural, but also if you are letting go from one that will benefit you, it is the right choice. Not all friendships, no matter how long they have existed, are always going to be good for you. There are going to be friendships that since the beginning was really good, but then a couple years down the line, it becomes toxic, it becomes one sided, and at that point, you really have to let it go. And I like that Brian discovered that, and he made the choice to let go of this friendship that he had. So that's it for this video. If you guys liked it, please leave a like and also comment your thoughts if you've read this book, what you thought of the book, and also subscribe to see more of my future videos. Thank you.